FMR 101.3.
Good morning. Welcome to Talking Movies. I'm Spling. This week we're talking about a brazen crime drama, an exhilarating biopic turned thriller, and a surreal backwater town drama. Starting off with a new release, Black Mass. The true story of Whitey Bulger, the brother of a state senator and the most infamous violent criminal in the history of South Boston, who formed an unholy alliance with the FBI in the 1970s. It's from director Scott Cooper, who's best known for Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace. It stars Johnny Depp, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Joel Edgerton. The brutal character has been brought to life by an almost unrecognizable Johnny Depp, whose sterling career has been peppered by a number of hit-and-miss films lately. He's largely redeemed himself with a cold-blooded and intimidating performance as Bulger, balding and blue-eyed, behind the sunglasses of a madman and criminal mastermind. Depp appears to be portraying Ray Liotta when it comes to the role. The cold blue eyes, the Boston drawl, and even some of the mannerisms make it seem like more than a theory. Although, in all honesty, Ray Liotta could have played just about every character in Black Mass. This is an actor's movie, and the ensemble is chock full of recognizable character actors and solid supporting performances. Director Scott Cooper continues to imbue his films with a serious and heavy dramatic tone, giving the sprawling crime thriller an epic quality. While not quite in the same league, Black Mass will draw comparisons with The Departed, not only for its Boston setting, but for the strength and depth of the cast and co-lead dynamic. The film isn't geared towards action, but tends to highlight some intense and violent moments, usually involving Whitey. The maniac's unpredictable edge is what creates tension and an air of excitement around Depp's uncharacteristic performance. As a gangster crime drama thriller, it finds itself drifting somewhere between Run All Night and The Departed. Beyond Depp's reinvention, Black Mass gets by on complex characters, curious paradoxes, sturdy performances, sure-footed direction, and a brazen attitude. I gave it a solid 7 on the Splingometer. Moving on to another new release, The Walk. In 1974, high-wire artist Philippe Petit attempts to walk the immense void between the World Trade Center towers. It's from director Robert Zemeckis and stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Charlotte Le Bon from The 100-Foot Journey, and Ben Kingsley. While the Oscar-winning documentary Man on Wire brought Philippe Petit's story to the big screen, it played as a heist. The Walk attempts to bring more heart to the story with a special interest in recreating the spectacular event. We're introduced to Philippe Petit, who narrates the story from the Statue of Liberty overlooking the Twin Towers. Like Life of Pi, the 3D has been used quite masterfully to capture depth and height to induce vertigo rather than seasickness, and elevate the thrills of being more than 100 stories high in the air. Joseph Gordon-Levitt isn't a perfect casting call, both in terms of facial and physical attributes, but his accent and performance is strong enough to own the character. It takes a while for Zemeckis to set the scene with a love interest in Charlotte Le Bon, mentor in the ever-versatile Ben Kingsley, and staging a humorous, daring heist. But it's called The Walk for a reason, and when Petit steps out onto the cable, it becomes quite glorious. As something of a tribute and special sentiment, The Walk reminds us of how we should remember New York's Twin Towers. See it in IMAX, or at least in 3D to get the full effect. I gave it a solid 7 on the Splingometer. And finally, a new rental, Lost River. A single mother is swept into a dark underworld while her teenage son discovers a road that leads him to a secret underwater town. It's written and directed by Ryan Gosling and stars Christina Hendricks, Ben Mendelsohn, and Eva Mendes. Ryan Gosling has worked closely with Nicholas Winding Refn on Driver and Only God Forgives. And judging from his directorial debut, he's taken inspiration from the director's contemporary style. The sleek cinematography, dazzling spectrum of color, and curious soundtrack make this film surreal, tipping the hat to Mulholland Drive and the work of David Lynch. While he composes a spectacular post-apocalyptic dream world of backwaters and dilapidated houses, it's a somewhat disconnected story. Instead of relying on moods and unsettling scenes to chart its course, it moves in a lethargic manner, relying on settings and characters rather than lucid storytelling. It's a fascinating and poetic audiovisual experience, but does come across as fleeting and slightly haphazard. I gave it a flat 5 on the Splingometer. So just to wrap up, Black Mass, Depp's reinvention and Bulger's unpredictable character compel us in this curious true crime story, a solid 7. The Walk, spectacular visuals and a solid lead performance refresh an amazing true story, a solid 7. And then finally, Lost River. While beautiful and immersive, this decaying wonderland lacks cohesion, a flat 5. For more movie reviews, interviews and features, visit spling.co.za or spling.mobi on the go. And remember, don't wing it, spling it.
FM